is an economy? How does it work? And what are the parts? We learn all about the basics of an economy on this episode of History's News. Welcome back to History's News. I'm your host, Bob Boom, and today we try to understand the very basics of an economy. Now, economy might seem like a big word, but it's easier to understand than you might think. As always, we have a reporter live in the field in John Johnson to help us get to know this topic. John, can you start us off with the basics? What exactly is an economy?
Hi, Bob. Yeah, sure. Happy to start with that. An economy is the system that shows us how groups of people and communities make, trade, and use goods and services. It has a lot of different parts, including how people work, earn money, and make choices to fit their wants and needs. An economy of a country, state, or really any given area can tell us a lot about how people in that area share resources and depend on each other.
Wow, John, a lot of information there, okay? Settle down, big fella. All right, we just got started. Let's break it down a bit more, all right? You mentioned wants and needs. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
Sorry, Bob, got a little excited, but yes, let's go back to needs. So needs are things we have to have in order to live. For example, we need food to eat so that we can have energy to move around and do stuff. We need water to drink so that we can stay healthy and hydrated. And we need a home so that we can stay safe and away from danger.
All right, John, I get it. So it's kind of like I need to have chocolate sprinkles on my ice cream before I can eat it. Or I needed this new remote to help spice up our show. I get it. Thank you, John.
Yeah, I'm not really sure you do, Bob, because what you listed are actually more of wants. You see, wants are things that are nice to have, but we don't actually need them in order to survive. Things such as fancy toys, cars, new clothes, or even a shiny new remote. These are all things that are nice to have, but we don't need them in order to survive.
John, if my ice cream doesn't have chocolate sprinkles, I'm not gonna eat it.
Yeah, that's still a want and not a need.
What if I need to be tucked in at night?
Yeah, it's more of a want.
What if I need my favorite blankie with me all the time?
That's a want.
What if I need to make pancakes on Thursdays?
That's a want too.
Okay, but what if I absolutely need to comb my mustache before bed?
Okay, Bob, I'm just going to stop you right there. Okay, what you're listing, literally everything that you are listing are wants. Okay, they are nice things. They are things you would probably like to have. You would prefer to have them, but you don't actually need them to survive.
Okay, John, I'm sure you're right there, but I'm just saying, you try dealing with an uncombed mustache. Things get crazy really quick.
Yeah, I'm just going to have to take your word for it, Bob. I don't have one. Can we move on?
Fine, let's move on. You also mentioned goods and services. What are those?
Well, Bob, goods are items that you can touch and use, like a playground ball, a book, or even clothes. Actually, that new remote you just got is also a good.
Oh, I see here, John, I see. This thing is pretty cool, I have to say. Lots of new buttons, all right? Well, John, this one here says Scott. What do you think that does? I'm gonna push it.
Oh no, what did you do? Look at me clothes. You turned me Scottish. Come on now, change me back. Change me back.
Oh, jeez. Okay, I'm sorry, Scottish John. Let me just find that button again here.
Hey, honey, all right, find the wee button and push it, all right, before I get stuck like this.
All right, here it is, here we go, and poof.
Bob, you have to promise me, okay? Never do that again.
I'm sorry about that, John, but I did just find a button that says turtle. What do you think that does? Should I press it?
No. Put the remote down, okay? Can somebody take that from him, please?
Okay, geez, testy, I'll put it away, for now, all right? So you mentioned goods are things you can touch and use, or like playground balls or clothes. But what is a service?
Services are things people do to help each other. For example, a doctor will try to cure you when you are sick. A bus driver will take you from place to place. And a chef will cook you a delicious meal. These are all examples of services people provide other people.
Very good information there, John. Now, can you explain a little bit more about how the choices people make affect the economy?
Sure can, Bob. Now, it's important to remember that we can't always get everything that we want. That's because things cost money. Money is how you purchase or buy goods and services. Now, money is limited, which means that we can't or aren't going to always have an endless amount of it to buy whatever we want.
Well, John, I'm going to be honest with you. If you tell me I can't buy everything I want, I'm going to tell my mommy.
Aren't you a little too old for that, Bob? But anyways, because there's not an endless amount of money, people have to make choices, which means deciding what is the most important thing to buy or do. Let's say you had $5, and you could choose between either buying an ice cream cone right now or saving that $5 and using it towards a more expensive and bigger toy later. Both are really good choices, but you can only choose one right now.
I see, all right, so people have to make choices all the time about how to use their money. Very interesting. And also, John, a very important lesson in there for our viewers. A toy is not a snack, all right? They're two separate things. Don't eat plastic, kids, all right? It doesn't taste good. Trust me, I tried.
Just what?
But where does the money come from, John? I mean, does it fall out of the sky, or do chipmunks deliver it to you on your 21st birthday?
People earn money by working jobs, and there are millions of different jobs out there that people do. For example, some people are teachers, some are police officers, some are firefighters, and some are farmers.
Some of them are news anchors, too.
When people work,
That's me. I'm the news guy I was just talking about. You didn't get it.
Yeah, I know. I got it. All right. I'm going to keep going. When people work, they earn money to buy things that they want and need. That's why jobs are so important. They make sure that people can take care of themselves and their families.
That's a very good point there, John, but if people always had money to use to buy things?
Actually, no. A long time ago, before money was used, people would trade things with each other. This was called bartering. For example, a farmer might trade some fresh vegetables for a new basket that their neighbor just made.
John, that's very interesting. I'll trade you 50 cents if you let me push the turtle button.
No.
How about 75?
No, absolutely not. Okay, absolutely not. Today, we use currency, like coins and bills, to buy things instead of trading or bartering. Different countries have different forms of currency. For example, America uses the dollar as its currency.
Oh, that's very interesting, John, but we are almost out of time. Anything else you want to add before we finish the report?
Yeah, one more thing, Bob. I just want to talk again about communities, because communities are extremely important in understanding an area's economy. Communities are like teams of people who are supposed to work together to make sure that everyone gets what they need. Now, a strong community will usually mean a strong economy.
Oh, very good there, John. Fantastic reporting as always. I have to admit I wasn't really listening because I just accidentally on purpose pressed the turtle button. John? John! Oh boy, okay, that's all the time we have for today, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this episode of History's News. I'm your host, Bob. Good night. Can somebody help John out there? The turtle button turned him into a turtle. Yeah, I know. Who knew, right? But seriously, he needs help.